what happens to a late night TV show when advertiser revenue declines, ratings decline, and you're losing $40 to $50 million a year? Well, that show gets canceled, and that's exactly what happened to Stephen Colbert. Not only am I going to show you what both sides are saying, but we're going to dive into the numbers on why this show should have been canceled years ago.
There are new questions about the shocking CBS decision to cancel the top-rated Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The network maintains it was a purely financial decision, but some observers wonder about the timing, as Colbert is a frequent critic of President Trump, whose administration is currently overseeing a merger of CBS's parent company with Skydance Media. The Writers Guild of America, which represents writers on The Late Show, is asking New York Attorney General Letitia James to launch an investigation of that move. Their statement reads in part, "Cancellations are part of the business, but a corporation terminating a show in bad faith due to explicit or implicit political pressure is dangerous and unacceptable in a democratic society." Also not buying the official explanation, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, who was a guest on yesterday's taping of The Late Show. The senator posted on social media, quote, "If Paramount and CBS ended The Late Show for political reasons, the public deserves to know and deserves better." President Trump made no attempt to hide his feelings on the matter, writing on social media just this morning, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next, has even less talent than Colbert!" Exclamation point.
All right, so there are multiple factors on why this happened to Stephen Colbert. Overarching, in my opinion, up front, when you make your show all about your hatred towards one individual, which happens to be the president of the United States, it doesn't matter how you get there. In the end, it's not going to lead to anywhere good, which is his show getting canceled. Now, let's actually get into the multiple scenarios, and the one that I actually believe to be more likely, it just comes down to pure numbers. Let me give you an example of what I mean. In the media business, the name of the game is advertising. That's how people make their money. And even though Stephen Colbert is the #1 rated TV show at night, his advertising revenue has significantly decreased. For an example, in 2023, ad revenue came in at $400 million. In 2024, it dropped to $200 million. I'm just rounding here to keep the math simple. So that's almost a, 50% decrease? Yeah, so when you're looking at it from a numbers point of view, that means CBS as a whole is losing money. Even though they make money, they lose more than they're making. So from an investment point of view, especially if you're trying to sell the company and merge it, you got to cut the fat. And that's exactly what's going on here. Now, before I get into the other scenarios, let's first hear the way CNN sees this. Take a look.
This is crazy because what Trump is doing is running around bullying people when they hurt his feelings. And if you look at Stephen Colbert's show, he talks trash about everybody. And the idea that he's happy that Colbert's show got canceled because there's a merger he wants to happen is another example. Has there been another president that has spent more time litigating against media outlets?
No, of course not. No. But I mean, this is, will we ever know if this is why it happened? Because of the parent company in the merger? No, but also yes. Because you know why? You don't kill your cash cow. I mean, TV's losing money across the networks, and that's the trend that we're going. But Stephen Colbert is #1 and has been for a long time. Also, Stephen Colbert
is losing $40 million a year.
Every show is losing money. It's still making them plenty of money in ad revenue every year. But, you know, listen, I worked for Stephen for 6 years.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and I know him really well.
Very well.
And he's beloved by everybody, and everybody who works on the staff is family. But the thing that really put him on the map, really made him super famous, was speaking truth to power to the President of the United States at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2006. Every night at the Colbert Report, an audience member would ask him about that moment. He's always done that. He's always punched up at power, speaking truth to power. And wherever my camera is, I want this one. I want to tell Stephen, you should run for president, sir. Do it! Run. He's running.
Okay, so clearly that's just an emotional reaction. Okay, not much there. But it takes me to the other, I guess, scenarios that we need to highlight here, because this is what people are saying online. They believe this also has happened, not because of numbers, but because President Trump made a few calls and got the people who are investing in this merger to cut Stephen Colbert's show out. I don't believe that to be true, honestly. The other scenario is that somewhere along the line, CBS believes that they got to cut this show because they're not going to be able to close the merger because President Trump's FCC has to sign off on this merger, and Stephen Colbert lashing out at the network just 3 days before his show got cut over that $16 million settlement with the president, is why this all happened. I really don't believe that either. When you're talking about people at that level, it's just about the numbers. And overall, in the entire media landscape, what's happening on cable TV is dying. And what's happening on these other platforms is increasing. So from an advertiser point of view, why would I keep putting my money into an industry that is dying? I need to be putting my money in an industry that is on the up and up, right? And that's what we're seeing just overall. It has nothing really to do with Stephen Colbert. This is going to continue to happen. It's just only a matter of time. Now, that is the common sense perspective. But again, I got to give you what all sides are saying. So here's MSDNC and their take.
Yeah, well, look, this has not been a great week for free speech and speaking truth to power, without a doubt. Look, the circumstantial evidence, and that's all we have, is as follows. CBS has said that they are canceling Stephen Colbert after next season for financial reasons. At the same time, we also know, as you said in the intro, that it is the #1 show in its time slot. And we also know that the new parent company for CBS, or they hope to be the new parent company, has spent money on other things. So it's very curious. And we have to also make note that Stephen Colbert is unafraid to, again, speak truth to power. He does it in a very bipartisan way over the years. And comedy and parody is an important part of a democratic ecosystem, and the chilling effect is certainly concerning.
Yes, she's right. This is pure speculation on her behalf. And at the end of the day, Stephen Colbert is going to be just fine. Okay, he'll probably be even more successful. But let me get to the heart of the matter, and what I would say to her is this. Isn't it interesting that when comedians were telling cold, hard jokes during Biden's presidency, they were being canceled, silenced. And now that Stephen Colbert's show is getting canceled, you guys are suggesting the same thing's happening to you, and now you're complaining about it. So I find that to be interesting, that this is the reaction you'll continue to see on social media. It's interesting how time flies by, right? Here's Ben Ferguson on CNN and his reaction to this news, and he just chalks it up to Stephen Colbert constantly attacking half of the country. Take a look.
One massive part of the conversation that's been completely omitted from this, and that is, when you do a show that attacks half of America every night and you don't have conservatives on, and by the way, you're not funny, but attacking half of America and your ratings suck, you might lose your show.
There's a lot of reasons why the Colbert ratings are not working out that have nothing to do with the political divide you're talking about.
But it's constant. He's having on Democrats to trash Trump. He has constantly been trashing conservatives. He referred to Donald Trump as a Nazi lover in 2017.
You just said that does make half of the country happy.
Right,
you
but if you alienate half the country.
But you don't need to have the whole country watching your show. You only need half the country. That's a great show.
The problem is
okay, once again, they're missing the entire point. Now, before I get to that, I want to share this special from today's sponsor, Fume.
All right, so I don't know if you guys know this about me or not, but I used to have a particular bad habit when I was serving in the military. Now, thankfully, I was able to kick this bad habit cold turkey, but I know most people are not that lucky. That's why I'm proud to partner with today's sponsor, Fume. Fume is a smokeless, careless, non-nicotine fidget device that gives you the oral sensation of vaping, but without the negative effects. And it's a new wellness habit to replace your bad habit. Listen to this. Fume customers have said it helps them calm down. And as a supporter of Fume myself, I could say the cool mint flavor is the perfect pick-me-up when I need it the most. So try Fume today. And when you buy their Journey Starter Pack, they will give you a free Fume topper for added fidget fun. All you have to do is hit the link in the description below or go to tryfume.com/Devoria or scan the QR code on the screen to kick your bad habit with Fume today.
Yeah, so according to Ben Ferguson, it has everything to do with the fact that Stephen Colbert hates conservatives, has never had conservatives on the show. I'm sure he has in the past at some point. I would like to think so. And that's why his show got canceled. Listen, I'm a big numbers guy. I love entrepreneurship. If I was those people in the suits making decisions about millions, if not billions of dollars of a company that's been around for ages, yeah, I'd cut a show just purely on numbers. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. It just doesn't. And that's the media landscape we find ourselves in this new world of online media. A lot of people are looking for alternative sources to consume Whatever they love to consume, whether that is news, entertainment, comedy, doesn't matter what it is, these other platforms are superior now to cable TV. And that's really the truth to the matter. But of course, they're not going to get into all that because it's boring. One of the other things that are coming out is that this is another example of not only President Trump bullying these networks, but they are actually now putting people in danger by working with the president in the way that they are. Take a look at this.
Thinking about this one show, and it's not. Right. What ABC and CBS did when they paid ransom is they endangered the lives of every journalist everywhere, and they made it harder for all of us to do our jobs because the president is pointing at us, putting a target on our backs, and they helped him do that. And so it's always the case when you pay off a pirate, when you pay the ransom, the tribute, to navigate safely through the waters are never safe. No matter how much you pay, the waters are unsafe because there's pirates in those waters. And Donald Trump is a pirate, and he wants to maraud through the seas of the media landscape. He's doing it with our help, which is the worst part.
Okay, well, my only response to that is I think these companies, they did it to themselves. I mean, remember, the media decided to violate, if not throw away, their values, their principles, and their ethics to go after the president of the United States. Not once, but multiple times over the past 10 years. So they don't get any sympathy. And having a target on your back, President Trump has had a target on his back ever since he said he was going to run for president. Let's be real. And when he announced he was going to run for president, everybody in politics laughed at him. So no, I don't have any sympathy for people out there like that. I mean, this is what you get by the way that you conducted business and how you guys really killed your own industry. That's the way that I see it. Now, here's Chris Murphy making a fool of himself and what he thinks happened with Stephen Colbert. Take a look.
So I want to tell you why the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show matters so much. We are on the precipice of entering a censorship state in which Donald Trump is using the powers of the federal government in order to erase criticism from the airwaves. What's happening at CBS right now is bone-chilling. CBS's parent company, Paramount, is trying to get a merger approved, and they need that merger to be approved by the Trump administration. And so in a variety of different ways, Paramount is providing monetary and political favors to Donald Trump. First, they settled a totally bogus lawsuit that they would have won in a walk in court that was filed against them by Trump. They essentially just paid him $16 million personally. Then Paramount went to 60 Minutes, their flagship news program, and told them to stop criticizing Donald Trump so much. Why? Because they need this merger approved. And then finally, they have now canceled Stephen Colbert's show, knowing that Stephen Colbert was a nightly thorn in the side of Donald Trump. This is all clearly designed to get their merger approved so that their millionaire and billionaire owners and investors who are already filthy rich can become even more filthy rich.
Yeah, so Chris Murphy, the people on CNN and MSDNC and anybody else who continues to say this is all because of President Trump, they're missing really the main point and probably the most important lesson. And it just shocks me of how educated these people are, and they still have not learned this particular lesson. And Mark Halperin points it out. The liberal media propagandists misquandering as reporters are spending a lot more time bemoaning the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show than they are looking at the evidence of liberal media bias in public media. I don't think I need to point out why this is a problem, especially if there's any interest left in restoring trust in the media. Yeah, and so the bottom line for me is when you see that the numbers show you that late night TV shows like Stephen Colbert no longer financially make sense, and then you see that advertisers are reducing their sponsorship for the show, and then you see how overall ratings have declined, I don't know what more evidence you need to cancel a show. I mean, let's get real. And for the record, this isn't just late night TV show. This is everything, ladies and gentlemen. We don't even watch NFL at the same way we used to watch it 10 years ago. The NBA suffers from the same problem. All ratings are down overall. Why? Because they got too political. They got too toxic. They got away from what made you watch to begin with. And just maybe if they're smart enough, or maybe they're too smart to realize that they need to go back to basics and essentials. Now, as I stated earlier, Stephen Colbert will be fine because we now are in an interest-based economy when we're talking about the media. There are plenty of people who are going to want to hear him rant about President Trump, so he'll be fine. But as far as a network is concerned, like CBS, they can't make their entire network all about hating President Trump and think financially they're going to be successful. Okay, so now that you've heard this entire video, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think it's now abundantly clear on why this show was canceled? Hopefully I answered that question throughout this video. And I don't really think it's all about emotion and politics. I just think it came down to numbers. Let me know if you agree with that. Number two, have you seen the huge political shift on late night TV shows and how they just used to be focused on funny and making you laugh, and now they're all politics driven? Let me know if you guys have seen that as well, and just give me everything you got in the comment section below. Now, yesterday, DNI Tulsi Gabbard dropped a shocking report proving that Obama and his officials not only created the Russia hoax, but created fake intelligence in order to not only undermine President Trump, but in her words, try to stage a 1 year long coup against President Trump. So if you guys missed out on that story and more from yesterday, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.